Cypher, and this is
J Ping checking in. Respect my
J
region.
Ping. Joey Bravo. What's up, guys? We are the co-owners of Respect My Region. We're going to be doing this weekly podcast on Sunday evenings, likely around 8 p.m. live. Today we're running a little bit late, and we're running the first time on this streaming platform with both of us. So bear with us if there's any technical difficulties, streaming difficulties, Wi-Fi difficulties, or any of these numerous difficulties that might arise.
This whole episode's all about just getting through the struggles and just getting it out.
Yes. So if there's anything you guys notice in the comments, please let us know. So we can get that taken care of, and we will regularly be having guests on the show. Again, like Joey just said, this is us getting the kinks out. So we are deciding to do that with us two as the guinea pigs. So it'll be just us today, but we will be having some high profile guests from on this podcast from both the music community and the cannabis industry.
Very excited. Very excited.
Yeah. So
we've got a couple of topics we want to talk about. We've got some categories. We're going to go over music. We're going to go over cannabis. We're going to go over some marketing. Why don't you dive right in and share some updates on, the local music scene there in Washington, and fill us all in on what's been going down, etc.
Yeah, so the local music scene, obviously, rolling into 2021, I know we're all super excited for the year 2020 to be over, but COVID-19 is clearly still running its course on our way of life. Live music shut down with the CARES Act that passed. Steven Severin and some local guys here were very influential in getting past some legislation that provides much needed relief to music venues and communities across the nation. So that was a big headline that involved some local people up here. We, the Respect My Region, and then Respect My Region, us and All Star Opera announced the official formation of our charity, the Seattle World Tour Foundation. We've done 2 years of annual charity concert series, but we actually have our own 501(c)(3) and foundation that's officially launched. And alongside that, we just released the Music with a Message series that'll be going on over the next 12 weeks, starting tomorrow.
Big shout out to Seth, All Star Opera, that entire team over there, man. You guys really helping to bring this to life. It's been an absolute blessing the last few years to work with All Star Opera and Mary's Place to really bring, not only like the holiday cheer vibes and helping the community vibes, but really just like, leverage music to actually be impactful in the community, right? Whether it's messaging, whether it's, physically providing money or clothes, food and all that kind of stuff. So big shout out to All Star Opera. Appreciate you guys for working with us and taking the leap. We've got a charity foundation, man. This is crazy. Never would have thought 10 years ago that we'd be doing this, huh, Mitch?
No, and and the Seattle World Tour is one of the biggest campaigns we do, and it's something that we do, it's not to toot our horn or anything, but it is, 100% of the proceeds go to charity. And so, something that we put the most work into that's truly for the community. It's not just by us, it's by the community as a whole, and it's for the community, both a platform for the music and artist community and a platform for us to give back to the community at large. And to me, that's been one of the most beautiful things is getting so many artists that are able to buy into the sum is bigger than, the sum is bigger than any singular individual. And, from our sponsors, we have 3 Seattle dispensaries with the Reef, Clutch, and Bakery, where, in any other facet, any dispensary in the same city would view each other as a competitor. And for them to get on board of the same thing, I think just speaks power to what we're trying to do. And
I could not agree more. These are the Seattle dispensaries that put their money, time, and energy behind the community. There's not a lot of them that do that. A lot of people just come support me, buy my weed, come to my store. But these dispensaries put, again, the time, the money, the energy, the effort, the partnership, the commitment to really work alongside us. We've been doing music for damn near 15 years to some extent. You, Seth, so many different people on our team. And a lot of the dispensaries ghosted, no response. A lot of brands, no response. And to be honest, like, let's not even judge them too harshly. COVID is having a significant impact on a lot of people's business, but cannabis going essential, cannabis becoming an essential business over the last, what is it, 8 months now?
Mm-hmm.
It changed everything. Companies are the ones that, they might be struggling in their own ways. We don't know. But the fact remains is that they still put up their time and their energy to do this with us. And so I really appreciate the Reef and Clutch, the bakery, all the companies, everyone that came together for this. Really appreciate you guys. Mad love, mad respect. The whole Respect My Region team, man. Shout out to y'all.
Yeah. And I'll say one more thing about the sponsors too is I've heard more from the sponsors. How can we make a further impact on the artists involved? How can we help the individual artists in this community out? 10 times more than I've heard them say, what's in it for me in this sponsorship? And I think
Yeah.
that's just really, really dope to be a part of.
Yeah, I think that's huge. It definitely sends the right kinds of message. You've got, I mean, think about it. I mean, some of the dispensaries that we reach out to for things, all they care about is what's in it for them. And in a business, a lot of that is important. But when we're talking about a music series, supporting artists, trying to put money back into artists, pockets and into their careers and into their livelihoods, I mean, it doesn't get much better than providing that kind of opportunity. So thanks again, Mitch. Thank you, bro. You did a lot of work there in Seattle, working with Seth and Sam and the whole team, Giassi and Tyler. Ty Lee and the whole group. Like, it's been a blessing. Big shout out to Taylor and all the different people coming together. Chase and so many names. I don't even know who's all in the group chat. So shout out to
yeah. It's a collective of us, man, and that's awesome. I think on that, right? Like, so talking about music, I want to roll into one of the music topics that hit us this last week that is not so much in the news, but if you're in the music space, you've been hearing about it, and that is Spotify took down, I believe, to the tune of 10,000 to 15,000 songs that were allegedly partaking in paying. Well, they weren't alleged; they were for sure partaking in paying third-party service playlisting services to increase the awareness and streams for their music. And whether they knowingly or unknowingly paid these services that use bots and artificial things to run up the streams, they got caught by Spotify. Spotify deleted it. There was a lot of people in the music space that were calling it out, and then there was a couple people I saw that offered some of these services that were talking about it. Everyone was pretty silent until it seemed like DistroKid finally put out a blog post on their site that was kind of saying, "Don't blame DistroKid. It's not our fault." But there's not a lot in the news. But I think it's something to be aware of. And
it's
for artists,
this is a very pivotal moment. And apologies to cut you off there, but I was in a chat last night I was in Clubhouse with the creator, the founder of DistroKid. And apparently in Clubhouse, he went and was, there was obviously a Clubhouse where he was answering questions and kind of put in the position where, people were kind of dragging him and his people through the mud. And he really came to, he clearly communicated that this wasn't his area, wasn't his department. Obviously DistroKid is more than one person. And, some very high level royalties people, licensing people started coming in and getting pinged into the group to really share a lot of their information. Big shout out to Dave Bogan, someone I've been following on Facebook here for the last 6 months. Speaker for UCLA, I believe College of Music or something along those lines. But he just came in and shared a lot of really solid game. It's really been interesting. The industry is not really set up for the artists to win, and what just happened has major impact on thousands of artists. Thousands.
Yeah. And I think, the way that we've shifted from album sales to streaming has opened the barrier of entry for artists getting their music on popular platforms and distribution. But it's the monetization effort, right? Going from selling a single album to now, like 1,500 streams or something equals an album. And when you're an independent artist, right, selling a couple hundred albums can be very, very impactful. But the reach and the amount that it takes to sell the equivalent of 400 albums back in the day, even into streams, we're talking thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of plays, which, for me to sell 400 albums, I might only need to reach, 550 people. Whereas getting, 50,000 plays, I need to reach probably 35,000 individual people.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, with the way Spotify set up is if you can get on a Spotify editorial playlist, or, an official Spotify playlist, obviously you're going to get racked up a lot of streams because that's on the top of every genre. It's on the top of all suggestions. That's what Drake and everybody else is on. But, if you're not, even with how much music there is out there, not even label artists or major artists are getting all of the music they'd like on those playlists. So for independent artists, your distribution channels are just your channel, and however the fuck you can reach people. And these third party services have user generated playlists that they reach out to get your songs placed. And it's something where essentially you pay somebody to take the time to reach out to these playlists and get them to play. The playlist, it's against Spotify's terms of service for the playlist itself to accept money for putting a song on it. But you pay a person to go reach out to playlists to try and place it. Just like in PR, you can pay somebody to go pitch you to news, TV or newspapers, and you don't actually pay for being placed in the Wall Street Journal or on Forbes. You pay a PR person to go pitch your story. It's a similar thing with this playlist thing going on, but the problem is a lot of these playlists or a lot of these people that were guaranteeing 10,000, 50,000, 20,000 streams were using bots and very low.
You want to mitigate the likelihood of that artist's music being trash and not actually performing well. And otherwise, that's how you increase your money. That's how you juice your business. Is you pad your stats at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's anyone out there that's like, oh, I can get your song 20,000 plays. It is lying to you, because if they can say I can put your song in front of X amount of people, that is a factual statement. But to say that 20,000 people are actually going to guarantee that 20,000 people are going to listen to it, they have a bot farm. That's the only way I could estimate an exact number of that level.
Either that or they're going to take an overpowering amount of money from you up front to guarantee X amount of people listening to it, right? And that would be a human farm, right, of listeners, which at this point, as far as we know, doesn't really exist yet. Maybe that's.
And it's not going to. I mean, I see on my newsfeed all the time a Spotify list that has Drake and all these people on it, and it's like, get on a Spotify playlist with millions of followers for $40. And if simply the only barrier of entry of being on that playlist is $40, how quality is that playlist? That's got to be pretty. For me, it's pretty cut and dry. For the artist that doesn't know, they're thinking about marketing and they're trying to get the most bang for their buck, and they probably have very little buck. So it's easy for them to be not only duped, but just really every dollar is so precious to them. And so they see even a small amount as, how can I be impactful? And it's hard to understand true marketing and true advertising. It costs money, and you get what you pay for, much like when you buy clothing or a car, or some things are expensive for no reason other than the fact that they're billed as luxury, and some cheap things, Costco, Kirkland brand, can be really quality and really affordable. But generally, there's a certain range of what you pay for and what you get.
Yeah, agreed. And I feel like in music, it's different because you're talking about businesses in an industry, and depending on your genre, there's that luxury tag. Depending on your brand, you not even realize that your brand is luxury, and that kind of cost and those kind of fees could just be associated with you naturally. So I find that all to be very interesting. To any artists out there, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're happy to put you in contact with some people to help you guys kind of navigate those changes, whether it's royalties, licensing, things like that. We do have people in our network that are happy to help. What do we have next, Mitch? What do we have? What's next on the agenda? It's our first
one. We'll start on this, but I'm just curious with what you're smoking on right now. I'm not smoking, but I'm curious what you're smoking on, man.
Yeah, let's see. So I've still got to do a review for the taste test. We've got that taste test series coming up that we're launching here in Cali. I have the Dizzy OG, some mids. I actually shot Dizzy Wright a DM earlier expressing my displeasing experience with this product because it has a branded version of like an Integra Boost inside. Not sure, is it Boveda, is it Integra, who knows. The weed looked like straight up greenhouse fucking OG, you know, I don't OG maybe, but it was kind of hazy, and so mad disappointed. I DM'd Dizzy, like Dizzy Hippie, at Dizzy Hippie, and I said, "Yo, out of all the rapper weed in California, yours is by far the worst, and this is pretty unacceptable. And it's just not a good reflection of the brand." At the end of the day, I've been a big fan. We you know, said who I am, said that we've supported him for years, been to concerts in Seattle, like.
So he rocked our clothing. He's rocked our clothing a couple of different times too.
I mean, yeah, we got a photo with dude rocking clothing and shit back in the day. So at that point, I just wanted to hit him and just try to help. I told him, I was like, yo, I got people with the weed here in Cali that would sell that shit to y'all, no problem.
Yeah, so, and that's, you know, and that's a huge, but we'll have to do that as a full topic on another episode. The rapper weed and the celebrity endorsement weed.
Yeah, I damn near smoked all of it here in California. Damn, all of it, from Devin the Dude to Currency shit, all the cookie shit. Like obviously Marathon OG is my daily, you know, here with Nipsey and stuff, like that's my favorite. But this I will never buy again, and it's not because of like this jar. I'd love to have a bunch of these clowning, you know, little jars like this. This shit's dope to me, but like just as a fan. But they don't. I mean, but not as a weed consumer.
It's some boof, and his brand is very much built around cannabis and being super high, and
yeah,
it's definitely hard to associate, right, when you're smoking on some low grade or some mids, and and that perception of being super high or super stoner, you know, it doesn't match up, you know, and so it just ruins the experience.
And arguably the biggest rapper out of Las Vegas, one of the 10 most prominent cannabis weed rappers that, you know, millennials fuck with. You know, obviously like him and Hobson were killing it for, you know, a few years. Like, yeah, it's just mad disappointing. I honestly give this weed like, bruh, I honestly give this weed like a 7 out of 10. And that's being really nice because it comes with an extra disappointing factor. You know what I mean? Like,
was that Integra pack on the bottom of it too, or was it on the lid?
It was on the bottom, so all the weed was just sitting on it. That's what I'm saying. It was really, and this does look like an OG. No, don't get me wrong, but it definitely looks like some greenhouse. It's just rock hard, and there wasn't no smell. It was $45 plus tax for the eighth. Now it's not like that's tax.
Yeah, and that's tough being, especially you being in California, where just obviously, you know, the birthplace of OG Kush, and where there is just OG running, you know, if you're in the OG department, there is a lot of competition.
People think I'm an indica smoker here, and it's like, nah, it's just because I'm in SoCal. Like, if it were really up to me, I'd be mixing Dutch Treat with every single thing that I smoke.
Well, I'm not physically smoking right now, but what I was smoking on today, I'm trying to even recall of what it was. Oh, you know, actually, I had two different things. I rolled up a joint of the Tangy Land from Cloud Cover in Oregon. I'm not a very big sativa person, but a good Tangy or a good Tropicana cookies, that terpene in that is just, it's such a flavorful joint. You know, it's a good daytime where you're not getting super high, but just want flavor. And then I had what I believe is some unreleased House of Cultivar that was prime.
That exclusive from Cultivar coming in hot, huh?
I was telling you that, I think just the other day, you know, I think that they're really, when we talk about top shelf weed in Washington, I think that they're slept on of being put in the top for just, I don't know. Like, we've been smoking a lot of, you know, I've had over 100 different brands in the last 2 months, you know, probably over 200. I mean, definitely over 200. And, you know, they're one of the few that every time I go back to like break down a nug, no matter if it's new or old, it's just like such good texture, smell, and anything that you want it to hit on, even if it's not my favorite strain, it's like it does really well in every category. And there's just not many people that are consistently good at so many things.
Big shout out to Cultivar. Yeah, and that kind of actually gives a good segue to the official West Coast Weed Tour list that we have for the best weed in Washington State. Now, in years past, you know, the last few years, I typically, not only did I obviously live there in Seattle and was visiting dispensaries and doing all that, but we had more brands get involved, right? and slightly less dispensary involvement in years past. And I feel like the list that we have is very impressive, and it definitely reflects some of the best farms in Washington. Obviously, I didn't smoke any of the cannabis for Washington State not being there this year, and so I noticed that like Gabriel, for example, was in the top 10, the former number one performer, winner one. I saw Mad Mark, in Doghouse. SPR, new entry into the top 10, first timer for us, super exciting. But yeah, let me read through this list and I'll kind of update you as to who actually won the best weed in Washington State. And it'll be kind of nice because I actually haven't read through the full one yet. So it looks like for number 10, I'll start at the bottom here. Spot number 10, coming in hot, Virginia Pop, a Dosey times Triangle Kush that you actually reviewed. Cultivated by Redbird out of Spokane, Washington, formerly known as Virginia Co. So I find this one to be super interesting for a few reasons. Virginia Co, we actually took a tour there. So walk us through your thoughts on the Redbird by Virginia Co. Oh, I'm sorry. Virginia Pop by Redbird. Sorry.
Yeah. They grow aeroponics, so it's a no soil, really unique way to grow. Not traditional, especially like when we're talking about OGs, right?
And they spray it and mist it.
Yeah. And that's where you talk about like, your old school growers and like OG Kush, right? A lot of people talk about the soil and how important the soil is. It's a very big topic for a lot of growers. So to take a style where there's absolutely no soil is unique. And honestly, from what I've learned, something that I would anticipate the cannabis to be of less of quality in some way, shape, or form. I have no scientific understanding as to why, but my conditioning and information has led me to think so.
That we've had has been grown in some form of soil or cocoa medium to some degree, like 98% that we've had.
And a lot of times when I have like, pure hydroponics or pure aeroponics, it could be good, but it's sometimes, I feel like it is subpar, right? At a lot of times, and not necessarily in a bad way. But this one, I was surprised. I got a couple different strains from Virginia Co. And I like Dosey Do and I like Kush a lot, Triangle Kush. I like two things that I really like.
Very heavy.
And so mixing those together sounds like something. And so it was just a jar when I opened it up, really good looking nugs. And what really has stood out to me time and time again, because I'm just smoked about the last of that the other day, is just the flavor on it. It had a really good flavor. And when like you roll a blunt, the flavor lasted through the majority, if not all, the blunt, which, I mean, as I know, sometimes there's some really good taste in weed and you get about a quarter of the way done with the blunt and you want to put the shit out.
Yep.
And so that was something that really stood out for me.
It's all harsh. That's what I just smoked. Some really average tasting, maybe midsy indoors or fucking whatever it is. Who knows? So, okay. So Dosey Do's Triangle Kush got a super solid one there. At number 9, we've got Gabriel. We've got the Lemon Sorbet, number 3. Number 3 being the third the third seed of Lemon Sorbet from that pheno. The potent lemony citrus aroma is supported by a creamy flavor. Sounds like lemon sorbet. Nice, smooth, and uplifting. What else do we have next? We've got the Grease Monkey by Green Rush. Did you try any of that Green Rush this year?
Yes, I did. And, something that really we've obviously known Green Rush for a long time. Something that really stood out to me when I was at their facility, they do flour, small batch flour, and then they do carts and oil. But something that really stood out to me was the terpenes between the oil and their flour. Like their terpenes just match so well. And I can't describe it. It's like when you go to someone's house and their house has like that smell that you can't describe. Like, you know what I mean? Like people just smell like their house, and there's something weird about, it's not bad, it's not good, but you just have this unique smell. And I felt like
unique
Green Rush
other plants
and everything from Green Rush, although it had individual terps, they all had this like, I don't know, just that's the only way I can describe it. This smell that was like that has this little hint, like, yeah, it smells good like weed, but there's something about this weed that I kept, and like my Green Rush jar, I kept going back to, and even while I wasn't even smoking it and smoking other flavors. I kept being like, God damn, like whatever the fucking terms are in this shit is just got me going back for more. Um,
That's what.
and
That's
and the grease monkey, you know, I think it's exotic genetics Mike strain. Um, and so, you know, it's not a ton of people had it, but quite a people got into it over the last year. It's a good strain, and Green Rush, you know, we had some good fat nugs from them, man, and it was definitely a good consistent weed.
solid. Big shout out to Green Rush, the guy Mark over there killing it. Up next, we've got Star Killer by Doghouse. Doghouse available in Oregon and Washington State. Really a highly respected brand, arguably one of the best in Oregon, and then in Washington State, kind of slept on, I would say.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Always coming in with very strong genetics, and in my experience with working with Diamond Green a few years back, very consistent, and those strains were always potent and high with higher cannabinoid content, 26 to 32% total cannabinoids, almost every strain.
Yeah, they're doing fire. They do a lot of in-house breeding too. They have a couple strains that are unique to them, and you know, there's not many multi-state operators that are craft, and they're. I'm not exactly sure if it's families and different families or how their ownership structure is set up, but being that in Washington, they're in Vancouver, you know, they're about 10 minutes from Oregon, and I'm not sure where their farm's at in Oregon, so it's easy for them to be multi-state because it's literally like a stone's fucking throw across the state. But still, for them to be in 2 states and be craft, I think is something that's super notable.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I was a big fan of the Oregon version of their cannabis that we tried, you know, probably 2 years ago when I was down there in Portland visiting a bunch of those dispensaries when we were first doing the research. And then, again, trying it there at Diamond Green in Tacoma was another solid experience. Would like to see it in jars, but, you know, it is what it is. Sherbface by Seattle's Private Reserve coming in next. How much, you know, Seattle's Private Reserve, I remember back in 2016 and 2017, we used to believe that they were arguably a top 5 cultivation group in Washington. Some of their strains, the Lemonder, excuse me, some of the Gorilla Glues, remember those back then, the super,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Early days. Did you try any of their cannabis this year?
Yeah, I tried. Definitely had a little snapper of the Sherb face, and it was good. I think we had that same strain from a couple of different growers, and that they were clearly the best of that cut.
I believe they've won they've won some Evergreen Cups. I want to say as well. They've been a part of the Evergreen Cup. Have they won? Do you know?
They might have. I can't remember. I definitely when we did, you know, yeah, when me and you were testing them, I know that, you know, we didn't know what they were, but I know at the end, I know that I think it was actually Cultivar and SPR were what ended up being my favorite strains, even though you know, when it was the blind test or whatever.
Yeah. Big shout out to SPR. Min, you're the man. Min was the first dude that ever fucked with us, bro. Big shout out to Min, bro.
Showed a lot of love.
Fucking next, Cake Donut by Scored Marijuana. Another, I believe they're in Vancouver, correct? Or where are they at?
Yeah, near Battleground, so near Vancouver.
Battleground. Yep. Cake Donut sounds like some crazy flavor. Scored, always coming in with great genetics and consistent, flavorful, and beautiful looking weed. The nug structure on a lot of their product, like, wow.
Yeah, I think when you talk about craft cannabis, they're definitely at the forefront of and leading by example of what that looks like. And then, you know, we're really early on this whole like small batch exclusive drop that it seems everybody and their mother's on in the Washington market right now. Scored has kind of been on that wave for a while, and I think really been one of the ones to help kind of set the tone for that.
Yeah. Big shout out to the entire Scored team. You guys have been killing it. I know John is a major Scored person. Up next, gelato, one of your favorites. You personally believe the Mad Gelato is the best gelato in Washington State. Is that correct?
It's neck and neck if it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's neck and neck if it's not. I mean, Tranquil Forest has a really good gelato. Sub X has a good gelato, but I'll say about Mad Marks is like it's always like the stickiness. Like his weed is always so sticky. I was just talking to you about this.
Oh,
Like, you know, again, I smoked 200, 300 different brands of weed in the last 2 months down the West Coast, and it's all the best of the best. And it's a very small handful that actually like I break down and like sticks to my finger. And Mad Marks, like you got to use like Goop Gone after you break down the weed to roll up the blunt, and you'll just fuck the whole wrap up every time, man.
Mad Market likes to do that quick, you know, hang, dry, cure, bam, hits the market with it fresh, let it cure in the jars while he's driving it there.
And even when we told him like, hey, we picked up the gelato for review, he's like, good, you have like 7 days. He had like some exact to the day, like don't even smoke it if it goes past that day. And I just think when it comes to craft cannabis, like he's like probably the best example because he just lives, breathes, and dies like customer experience above fucking everything, man.
I fuck with Mark, man. I fuck with Mark, dude. One of the hardest. I remember meeting him, seeing him like, bro, this is that dude, bro. This is that fucking guy. One of the hardest fucking workers out there. Big shout out. Mad inspirational. Team, self-funded, grown, done. Man, man. Big shout out to Mark,
True
bro.
that.
Up next, Glue Lotto from Agro Couture.
Yeah, I had that. I didn't do the review on that, but I had that. I think when we got it, I think I bought 2 jars so I could get one for myself. Um, you know, that was a good strain. As a glue lotto, like that's a really, again, I'm a gelato whore, so like anything with gelato is gonna get me. But glue lotto, that just has a really nice ring to it, and
Yeah.
it was a good weed. You know, for me personally, some of the other stuff we talked about, I'd probably put over that personally, but you know, I wasn't the one that judged that, and it was still really, I mean, it was still some top flight. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think. I mean, the terp profiles on that are going to be smooth, creamy, and then a glue piney. It's got to be good. That myrcene is going to shine.
Yeah.
Second place is going to be lemon meringue from Avita's, and I felt like that's definitely a surprise to see Avita's coming in there, mostly known for oil in Oregon and Washington, but coming in with some really high quality flour.
Yeah, you know, I didn't review that one. So I was definitely surprised about it as well. But you know, the strain name sounds great, and I'm not a sativa person, but I also know that you know, especially the lemon flavor or the lemon, you know, I don't know the scientific name, but the terpene that produces lemon or lemonine or lemon, whatever, fuck all that, you know, the lemon flavor. Uh, you know, that's one of those ones that just cuts through, I think, and when you have a
Yeah.
good crop of that with that really shining through, I think it's really lends to a high scoring experience. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, but you got to think too. I think a lot of people got away from growing those super high citrusy, sweet,
Totally.
smooth strains, and so when you think about a gelato or a gelato or any of the other ones, that's just a fruity, sweet, creamy, maybe a tiny bit gassy. You know, if it's got more do-si-dos or triangle kush or any of these other crosses into it, then it's going to be heavier and gassier. But at this point, they're mostly just fruity and sweet and kind of baby gassy.
Hmm.
And the meringue is fruity and sweet at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So I know as a sativa person, it would be that. You know, I gave the Dutch Tree Vapor, I gave that one a super high score. It's a strain, so that's a strain that would do it for me. Sounds like lemon meringue just hit it on the head for that person. And then first place, best weed in Washington State from the West Coast Weed Tour reviews that respect my region. We all did. Gary Payton by Cookies.
There's gonna
So
be some people that are upset about that.
yeah, yes. Obviously, I didn't review weed there in Washington, but I seen that the Gary Payton by Cookies won, and I was like, man, you know, that is another example of fruity, sweet, gassy weed. I have smoked it here in California by Cookies. I've smoked it by people that claim that whatever they just sold me was Gary Payton, and it's good. I think it gets you high. You get not sober. You know, you are intoxicated. Your body is high. Your head is high. Um, but I don't feel that it differentiates itself as a terpene profile so much from other gelatos or other strains similar to it that it just, you know, kind of just falls into that category of one of those, you know,
Yeah.
another one of those cookies.
I mean, I personally, when it comes to cookies, cereal milk and Gary Payton are the top strains to me. I think Gary Payton is the top strain. And I just said a lot of people aren't going to like this because, we've sent out newsletter blast where cookies is mentioned in it, and people are like straight up like, I'm unsubscribing just because I saw a cookies logo in this email. Like people fucking hate cookies. But
I love cookies. I don't know that this is the best weed, but at the same time, I didn't review it over there, so that's why I'm asking. I mean, do you agree with the review necessarily, or I mean, I fully believe that they deserve it. I just don't know. Again,
does
did we?
Yeah, I mean, I'd put it in the top 10 list. It's hard. Like, I can't just definitively say this was number one. We have a review system for a reason. We review each weed individually, and it compiles it in. It
Yeah,
spits out a score, and then we look at it later. We don't look at the score and then go, well, was it this much better than that one? We just rate each one as it stands as a consumer. And I mean, it surprised us every single time we've done this. But yeah, I mean, cookies. The Gary Payton by Cookies is the top 10 weed, probably top 5
anywhere.
weed, and yeah, in any state, and again, and like we mentioned just a minute ago, like I'm already a fool for gelato. So like where you're like, yeah, it's right in the lane of gelato. It's not that intriguing to me. I'm like, that's like speaking my language to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and obviously quite a bit of other people.
Like, I just want to get that clear. But like I
But
said,
it's similar.
When you sit there and you blind test it, which we did, it's kind of like, but it does taste good. I think it's worth every dollar every time. Big shout out, big respect to Cookies for, and the cultivation team there in Washington for putting, together a top-notch product. I'm personally looking forward to trying that when I come back and visit. I think I'm going to have to go buy all the top 10 strains and see what's good. I got to do it for the taste test series in Washington.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the next series that we have coming up, at least here in California, I do have the Taste Test California Cannabis series. We're actually going to be reviewing. God, what is it going to be, Mitch? We're going to do all the categories. Do you want to do just a couple? What are we thinking for this? I know we're going to do flower eighths and dabs and beverages.
I think pre-rolls and I think beverages, and then too, it was funny. I was in a clubhouse room the other day, and this guy was clowning on me. He's talking about how he's meeting with all these big alcohol brands that are getting into cannabis, and he's just saying there's an overwhelmingly amount of people that are committed to the thought that the beverage market will be the biggest sector in cannabis.
Yeah, I really do. I see that all the time on LinkedIn.
And everyone in that room, was disagreeing. That was from the culture, but it is interesting. So I just think from our perspective, I think beverages is definitely something we should include because I think it'll be a big market, but I just don't think, when we talk about cannabis, we want to smoke our weed, smell our weed. We don't want to drink it.
I do believe that and to some extent, I can agree with them for being so forward thinking in terms of when the big box retailers come in, they're going to place these massive orders for products that already make sense on their shelves. And that's when we're going to see some more supply chain issues, honestly, when Whole Foods starts ordering and when all those kinds of companies like the Amazons of the world start to pick it up and Walmart and stuff. I mean, a lot of them have already communicated that they're going to be involved to some degree. They did it in 3-4 point. And I personally it's going to be interesting to see, but yeah, I don't foresee beverages getting like outselling weed for, 20, 30, 40 years. But there will be another shift, and it'll be one of those shifts where smoking becomes so unhealthy. But I don't ever think cannabis smoking will stop. Personally, it's been around for what, I think I saw something today, 27 BC was like the first documented cannabis or something like that. So random stat of the day, I saw it on someone's sales sheet.
Yeah, no, yeah, and I believe it. And so yeah, I mean, yeah, for the taste test series, yeah, I think pre-rolls, flour, dabs in the Puffco, drinks. And for those who don't know, our taste test show that Joey's going to be kicking off in California is live reviews of product. A lot of times it's pretty much right outside the dispensary. But even whether it's outside the dispensary or in the studio, is the quick it's the quick raw, let me take a couple puffs of this pre-roll, give you the review. Let me take a couple sips of this drink, and just let you know kind of. It incorporates like everything we do, the experience from a consumer standpoint, not just how potent is this or how good does it look.
One bite into your tacos and into your teriyaki and into your pizza and into your drink, the beer, when you swish it around, or your wine, whether you want to keep drinking it or not. And it's at that point where the taste matters. And whether you have a sensitive system like me, I'm a cannabis patient by trade, I guess I would say, because that's how I got into using cannabis. Otherwise, I didn't have a reason to smoke. Obviously, recreational smoker now on my spare time, right? But like, it's a lot. It's interesting. We honestly, we have 10 minutes left. We need to transition over to marketing right now. That's what we need to do. We got to get over to music marketing. I just looked up. I see the clock here. We got 10 minutes before the show's ending. We've been on this West Coast tour and taste test stuff way too long.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, everyone, sorry to cut you off, Mitch. Taste test, tap in for the review, subscribe to the playlist, subscribe to the YouTube. I already have some playlists started on there that you guys can tap into. We've got some new videos already up. We're officially launching on the 15th. So Taste Test, J-Ping, Buddies, all of these brands, we're going to put them out of the test. Raw Garden, I'm going to go try Friendly Farms, bunch, all the best stuff in California. We are going to go buy it and keep trying this stuff so you guys can know what's good. Mitch, what are we on to next?
So music marketing, and I just wanted to, I thought Ricky just commented. I thought you said I miss your tacos, and I was like, what the hell, tacos? We're back on that. No, what's up, Ricky? Anyway, so music marketing, we made an announcement this week that we opened up some new music marketing services for independent artists. It's something that we've been doing behind the scenes for a couple of years for PR professionals, labels, festivals and events, and then select artists in our network that just come to us, that just kind of see how we move and promote our brand online. That say, hey, could you potentially do that, but for my music? And so we've been doing it for a couple of years, and we've worked with playlist pitching, PR pitching, getting stuff listed on different blog sites, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, Twitter ads. We've run all of that for our brand and other artists, and we kind of picked a small group. I believe it's 6 products, advertising products, leveraging our platform and our network and our expertise of what we found works and is actual value. Because as we were talking about earlier in the show about this playlist streaming debacle that happened, where people were obviously getting numbers, but it wasn't real plays. And then now those people's counts are being shut down or songs are being removed. So it's just, we have spent our money and our clients' money on pretty much everything under the sun when it comes to marketing. And we came up with 6 products, again, leveraging our platform and our resources that we believe actually provide value, like real value. It's not, some of these things maybe you buy and you get tens of thousands of streams out the gate. Some maybe you only get 1,000 or so, but we know that it's real value and it is worth the money, and we would spend our money on it. And so I'm just real excited about offering that out to the community and hopefully being a transparent and trustworthy source for helping with marketing music.
And Mitch, thank you for sharing that information. And this goes out to all those artists out there. It's, when you think about what you need as an artist, it's more than just make a song, release the music. It's like we were talking about earlier, the royalties, the licensing, so many different details, the different kinds of metadata and codes that you need to get. It's about getting verified and taking meetings with labels and A&Rs and pitching people your music all the time. It's about having the hunger and the drive to get up and get into Clubhouse and pitch your music to WorldStar for free features or for feedback, or to the different publications like Rolling Stone or Ear Milk or Pigeons and Planes, all these different things. Whether or not you think blogs matter, it's important that you recognize that they do. Whether or not you understand ads, it's important that you understand and recognize that you ultimately will need to be doing it as a music artist. To succeed, to make money, to be in the business, to be in the game, Content matters, right? Networking matters. Always
Hmm.
find new journalists, always finding and networking with more and more editors, more playlist people, people that create content that are great, that are creative, that go viral, that set trends, people that respect your music. I think ultimately is people that you want to work with, people that have respect for you and that show you love authentically. Those are people you should, like our network is designed to be always looking for that. We're always trying to build value into that.
Right, and even to the point of what you're talking about on blogs, a lot of people in this in the music sector will say blogs are dead, right? And in a sense, blogs are dead. In a sense, no. Blogs in terms of launching careers, like the blog was responsible for J. Cole, Kendrick, Wiz, Nipsey, contributing to those guys blowing up. They got put on from the blog era, and in the sense of blogs launching careers like that, yeah, it is dead. But when you look at blogs or just digital media or press in general, it is absolutely not dead, nor will it ever be dead for reasons that you just mentioned. The SEO value, you and I both know that not only do people seek to and pay us for just simply links on the website, we also, as an entity, pay for links pointing to our website or our assets or our clients' assets. We physically have put our own money onto websites for no other purpose than the link, not to get exposed to their audience, not to get a bunch of fucking views or whatever. We've simply paid hundreds of dollars just for a quality link because that means a lot. And I don't think artists quite understand. So when you're paying to work with, whether it's us or someone else outside of, an Instagram repost or a YouTube repost, that might get you a lot of views, but that page could get shut down next week. And then sure, you got a lot of views one time, but you don't have evergreen value from that. Even if you did get a lot of views one week, how many people are going back to every single video from every channel and watching the video in whole? Whereas opposed to if that were hosted on a website with a link pointing to your Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, website, whatever fucking assets you have, or all of the above, and it sat on that website forever, even if that individual article didn't get very many views, you would still have an asset that people pay hundreds of dollars for.
Yeah.
So I think that information and that knowledge, I don't think a lot of artists even understand. I mean, shit, we didn't even understand that until people started paying us for links, and we thought, oh, this is just easy money in a sense. And
Here we
then,
are, way real estate.
and then we start meeting with people that know a lot about the internet than us, and they're like, and we're like, how do we get bigger on the internet? They're like, well, you got to get your fucking links up. And so then we full circle understood, okay, this shit
Yeah.
cost a lot of money and a lot of time to do this, and it took us a lot of time to get to the point where we even fucking knew that.
Yeah. I mean, even for us, we haven't gone around looking to build our brand that way as well. And that's, to some of us, that's part of our ego and but also is, people say the word organic and it's like, the word organic, you don't just, you kind of just put, you just create something and then put it in SoundCloud and then that's it. You kind of stop like one thing and you're done. You know what I mean? As soon as you put more effort into it, you're really working the record. You're
Yeah,
really 10 social media posts is working a record. Is it really, really seriously working the record? Fuck no. But like that's
yeah,
work. So
but even still organic, right? Like you pay or you work to have your content placed in front of more people, and then the organic aspect is when those people then take it and share it, right? This I paid for 100,000 impressions through a platform or a website, right? That's what I paid for. But out of those 100,000 impressions,
this
maybe
has
influ then maybe influencers or other people saw it and they started sharing it. I didn't pay them.
yeah.
That's where the organic took over. And if I didn't pay to get those initial impressions, I didn't set myself up for any sort of fucking organic distribution other than my friends and family and the people that are already tuned into
We
my Facebook
heard
group.
that Clubhouse guy, Higher Leaf, that CEO Higher Leaf dude, right? The guy who owns the the cereal CBD shop in
Yes.
Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, I took a shot. I was in Clubhouse. I found someone. They worked with Kylie Jenner's team. I took a shot, threw the Hail Mary, talked to the people. They responded
Hmm.
to send the shit. Kylie Jenner liked his CBD cream. Bam. Next thing you know, he's getting tagged, and then 500 websites are calling him saying
Yeah.
you're the shit out here now. And that's the kind of strategies that people should be thinking, that time and time again, people have already identified that this is a way that not only works to build music, build a product, whatever it is, but it's a way to jumpstart it so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get in front of people. If you're a restaurant, you need foot traffic. You need people to be aware of your restaurant as an option to eat. You know, no matter what business you are, plumbing, you need to know people that fucking own houses or property managers that are going to need plumbing help. You know what I mean? No matter what business you are, you need exposure to the people you want to get. And you're spending time or money either way. And time is money. You know what I mean? Because if I'm spending my time, then I'm giving up time I could be making money. So when you understand those two things are really interchangeable, sure, I don't pay for promo. Okay, cool. Then you work 15 fucking jobs and you only get paid by your actual job, and all these other jobs are you avoiding paying for promo because you're learning and doing all the things that you could pay someone else to do.
Yeah. And that's a classic thing is just not putting time and effort into the right areas, and not understanding what the priority is, not understanding how the game really works. And so this podcast, we're going to be spending, our goal is to spend 10 to 15 minutes at the end, giving you guys some good marketing game, whether it's about music or about cannabis or just building brands in general. So we appreciate you guys. For now, though, this is the Respect My Region podcast. This is the first official episode presented by Mitch Pfeiffer, the legend, the CEO, the founder, and your boy Jay Ping here, man, out of Los Angeles, Mitch in Seattle. Mitch, we have another episode next Sunday. Can you fill the people in real quick and sign us out? Who are we going to be interviewing next week?
So next week, we'll be having our first guest. It's going to be Mark Hubbard from M6 Labs, longtime entrepreneur in the recreational cannabis space, started and owns a analytical and testing lab, responsible for creating a ton of products on the Washington State rec market. And
in Washington State was Mark's idea.
Yep. And, Joey and I have long since known him as, Joey knew him better than me. I always knew him as the CBD guy, because no matter where we flew in this country, Mark somehow, we didn't even plan on meeting him. We'd always just meet him on the fucking street, and he'd always have some sort of fire CBD product that I'd never heard of prior to that meeting. And so we also have some
Delta 8s.
Yeah, and we got some stuff cooked up with him coming up that we'll talk about on that podcast, but he will be our first guest. He is an absolute wizard at product development in cannabis, hemp, or CBD. And when it comes to CBD, this guy is knows how to grow, knows how to extract, knows how to manufacture, man. He's single source, understands the process. So super excited to have him talk about, such a huge and emerging industry.
Yeah, it's gonna be big. We've got a huge announcement, man. Today, the Seattle World Tour Foundation finally brought to life, finally announced the videos, a lot of the content. We've got our big announcement coming up for our brand in terms of some products and some things. The West Coast Weed Tour announcement, we just talked about the best weed, so make sure you guys all tap back in and check out that on the website. Really appreciate you taking the time tonight, Mitch. I'll see you next week. Let's do it.
100.
Episode 1, we did it.
We done.
Bam. All right, love you guys. We'll see you all in the next one. 8 o'clock next week.